Sometimes the person who walked away will one day walk back. Not because you begged, but because you became someone they could never replace. That's not just a pretty line, my friends. That's reality when you stop chasing and start living in a way that makes them see you differently. And today, I'm going to share something bold. Something most people will never tell you because it flips the breakup script upside down. We're talking about the 100% guarantee, yes, I said it, that they will return and beg to be with you again. But here's the twist. This isn't about clever tricks, desperate messages, or waiting around like a lost puppy. This is about becoming the version of yourself they can't stop thinking about, even when they swore they were done. Stay with me, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, before we jump in, hit that like button, subscribe to Stoic Station, and let's walk this path together. I promise you, what you're about to hear isn't some fluffy, just ignore them and they'll come back nonsense. This is about shifting your entire presence so deeply it messes with their reality. Hey folks, imagine this. You're a lighthouse, not a speedboat chasing every passing ship, waving your little flag, hoping one of them comes back. No, you're a solid, unshakable lighthouse standing on the shore. Ships come, ships go. Some sail away thinking they'll find better harbors, but in the storms that follow, they'll remember the one steady light they could always see, even from miles away. That's you when you stop chasing. Here's the lie we've all been sold. If you care enough, you have to show it. You have to fight for them. Sounds noble, right? But the truth is, when you fight for someone who's walking away, you're not really fighting for them. You're fighting against yourself. You're sending a silent message. My life is on pause until you return. And folks, nothing kills attraction faster than someone who pauses their own life for another person. You've got to flip it. Because here's the truth. Energy doesn't beg, it attracts. You can be silent and still be desperate, or you can be silent and magnetic. And the difference is what's going on inside you. If your quiet is full of tension, hope, and maybe they'll notice me, they'll feel it. They won't even have to be in the same room. That energy will follow them like static in the air, and it won't pull them in, it'll push them away. But the day your silence shifts, oh, they'll feel that too. The day you're no longer checking their profile, no longer living on pause, no longer rehearsing what you'll say if they text you, that's when their radar starts pinging. And it's not because they suddenly decided you're amazing, it's because you've stopped being predictable. You've stepped off the track they thought you'd stay on forever. My friends, think of it like this. You were a song they thought they knew every word to. But now, you've changed the melody. You've grown. Your rhythm has shifted, and suddenly they can't hum along anymore. That's unsettling in the best way. People don't chase comfort, they chase curiosity. And yes, we'll get to the psychology, the steps, the deep shifts that make this inevitable. But first, I need you to believe one thing. The goal isn't to get them back. The goal is to get you back. Because once you do, once you reclaim your peace, your self-worth, your spark, their return stops being a question. It becomes a consequence. So stay with me till the very end, because what you're going to hear today might not just change the way you handle this breakup, it might change the way you handle every relationship from here on out. And before we dive in, type these 3 words in the comments to seal it in. I choose myself. Write it now, press that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And let's begin. Number 1, they can't unfeel what they once felt. You can forget someone's name, but you can never forget how they made you feel. That's the thing, my friends. Feelings leave fingerprints. They sink deep into the memory in ways logic can't erase. People can convince themselves they've moved on. They can rewrite the story in their heads. They can even tell their friends they feel nothing. But the truth is, once your energy has touched them in a way the world doesn't normally offer, it becomes part of their internal wiring. You can't undo that. They can run from it, they can bury it, but it lives there like a song that plays faintly in the background when they least expect it. Think about it like this. Imagine walking into a room that smells like your childhood home. You're grown now, you've lived years without thinking about that place, but suddenly the scent hits you and you're there again. You're feeling things you didn't plan to feel. You can't stop it. That's what happens when you've been someone's safe place, when your presence carved a space in their emotional landscape. No matter how far they sail, that harbor is still marked on their map. Now, they may try to tell themselves otherwise. They might even try to overwrite those memories with new people, new distractions, new experiences. But folks, the heart doesn't work like a chalkboard where you can just erase and start over. It's more like carving initials into a tree. The bark may grow around it, the tree may change shape, but the mark is still there. And the deeper the connection once was, the harder it is for them to pretend it never existed. This is where the fear creeps in for them. Not fear of you, but fear of what you represent. You represent the person they could be vulnerable with, the one who saw the parts they hide from everyone else. And here's the thing about vulnerability. It's rare. Most people spend their lives armored up, performing, keeping the world at a safe distance. But when they met you, something in them opened. That opening might scare them now. They might even push you away because it's uncomfortable to be seen like that. But the more the world shows them how rare that connection was, the more the memory of it lingers like a shadow they can't outrun. But here's where a lot of people get it wrong. They think, if they can't unfeel me, then all I have to do is remind them. And that's the trap, because every time you try to remind them, through a text, through a post aimed at them, through a little breadcrumb of attention, you're not actually bringing back the feeling. You're creating pressure. And pressure doesn't revive connection, it suffocates it. You've got to understand something. Emotions are not summoned by demand. They're triggered by contrast. When you're gone, but not in a way that feels like waiting. When your absence isn't dripping with longing. When you're living, expanding, breathing without needing them to see it, that's when contrast does its work. They start comparing the memory of how it felt to be with you to the reality of the world without you. And 9 times out of 10, reality doesn't measure up. They'll try to replace the feeling, of course. They'll date someone new, hoping for that same ease, that same spark, that same unspoken understanding. But replacements rarely work because they're not you. And here's the kicker. The more they try to replace, the more the original becomes valuable. You can buy a copy of a rare painting, hang it on your wall, and tell yourself it's just as good. But deep down, you know it's not the same. And this is where the shift begins. Not in them, but in you. Because the moment you realize they can't unfeel you, you stop fearing their absence. You stop thinking their return depends on your next move. You start understanding that the most magnetic thing you can do is live in such a way that the memory of you doesn't just stay alive. It grows in value with every passing day. But that's hard, isn't it? It's hard because your mind keeps telling you that you need to do something to make them remember. You imagine them forgetting. You imagine them replacing you. And fear whispers, if I don't remind them, they'll move on. That's the lie. People don't move on from what's irreplaceable. They might move away from it for a while, but that's not the same thing. Moving away doesn't erase it. Sometimes it makes it sharper. The challenge is that you can't fake being unbothered. You can't fake peace. If deep down you're still clinging to the hope that they'll walk back in tomorrow, that energy will leak into everything you do. They'll feel it even if you never say a word. And that's why the work here is not about performing a version of yourself for their eyes. It's about actually becoming the person who doesn't need them to come back to feel whole. Because when you become that person, you don't just remind them of what you once were, you show them something new. You show them a strength they didn't see before. And that's when their mind starts working against them. If they were that incredible when I knew them, and they're even better now, what have I done? It's in those moments, late at night, after a disappointment, in the middle of a quiet drive, that the old feelings rush back, uninvited and undeniable. They remember your laugh. They remember the way your presence felt like a deep breath they didn't know they needed. They remember being themselves without performing, and they'll wonder if they'll ever have that again. That wondering is the seed of their return. But here's your part in this. You can't water that seed by hovering over it. You can't force it to sprout on your timeline. Your only job is to keep living in such a way that when they look back, they see someone worth missing. And when they look now, they see someone worth chasing. So remember this truth, folks. They can't unfeel what they once felt. And if you stop chasing, stop pressing, stop performing, those feelings will find them again, not because you demanded it, but because the contrast between then and now is undeniable. Write this in the comments to anchor it into your own mind. I am unforgettable. Say it to yourself, say it to the world. Say it until you believe it, because the moment you live like it's true, it becomes true. And in the next part of this journey, we're going to dig into the reason they thought they could leave without losing you, and how flipping that belief makes their return not just possible, but inevitable. Stay with me. Number 2, they thought you'd always be there. People don't value what they believe they can't lose. That's the quiet truth that stings, my friends. When they walked away, it wasn't always because they didn't care about you. Sometimes it's because they thought you were permanent, like a book on a shelf they could return to anytime, like a favorite cafe that's always open. They didn't see leaving as a gamble, they saw it as a pause. In their mind, the door wasn't locked, and you weren't going anywhere. And maybe, for a while, they were right. Because deep down, you wanted them to know you'd still be there. You wanted to prove your loyalty, your commitment, your willingness to weather the storm. You might have thought, if I stay patient, if I don't move too far away, they'll see what I'm made of and come back. But folks, here's the uncomfortable part. Loyalty without boundaries isn't loyalty. It's self-abandonment. And when someone senses you'll accept them back no matter what, their urgency to return disappears. Imagine it like a fire in a fireplace. When the flames are roaring, you feel its heat, you notice its light. But if you know it will always be burning at the same strength, even if you leave the room for hours, you stop rushing back to it. You assume it will still be there, waiting, exactly as you left it. That's how they saw you. Not because you're weak, but because your presence became predictable. Now let's be real. There's a fear under that predictability, and it's not theirs, it's yours. Fear that if you actually step away, they'll forget you. Fear that if you stop holding the door open, they'll never come back. So you keep the light on, you keep the space warm, you keep yourself emotionally parked in one spot. You're not chasing, but you're not moving forward either. And my friends, that's still waiting. And waiting is the quiet cousin of chasing. This is why they could leave so easily. Not because you didn't matter, but because they believed they could come back whenever it suited them. They believed in some corner of their mind that your love was on pause, not gone. And the dangerous thing about that belief is, it keeps them comfortable. They can explore, wander, test the waters of other connections, all while holding on to the safety net that you'll still be there if those adventures don't work out. So, how do you break that belief? Not through anger, not through big dramatic exits, not through punishing silence. You break it through transformation, through quiet, steady movement forward. Movement that doesn't keep glancing back at the door. You stop orbiting them and start rotating around your own center. Here's the shift. The first time they see, hear, or sense that you're not emotionally frozen in place, their internal alarm goes off. It's not jealousy at first, it's disruption. You've stepped off the track they mapped out for you. You're no longer playing your role in their mental story, and that unsettles them because human beings crave predictability. When you were predictable, they knew the script. They could leave, live their life, and you'd still be where they left you. Now, you've thrown out the script. Think of it like a TV series they thought they could binge at their own pace. They left in the middle of season 3, thinking they could pick it up whenever they wanted. But now they come back and realize the story has moved on without them. New characters have entered, new plot lines are unfolding, and the person they remember is still there, but more evolved, more layered, more confident. They don't recognize the version of you they left behind, and that recognition gap plants doubt in their mind. But I'll tell you why this is hard, because in the early days, breaking this pattern feels like betrayal. Not betrayal of them, betrayal of your own hope. You feel like you're giving up on the story you wanted, and your heart will resist that, because hope can be addictive. It whispers, if I just hold on a little longer. But you've got to ask yourself, hold on to what? To the person they were when they left. To the dynamic that allowed them to believe you'd never walk away. That's not holding on, that's holding yourself back. Here's the lie they live in until you break it. They'll always want me more than I want them. As long as that lie remains unchallenged, their urgency stays low. They may think about you, but not in a way that pushes them to act. They may miss you in passing, but not enough to risk the comfort of their freedom. The second you remove the comfort, you create space for urgency, and urgency is what flips the dynamic. When you stop making yourself an option, you become a decision. And decisions have weight. They carry finality. And the human mind, especially when it comes to relationships, is wired to want what feels like it's slipping away. Now, this doesn't mean you slam the door and shout, "You'll regret this." That's not power, that's performance. Power is when you quietly rearrange your life so thoroughly that their old access to you no longer exists. Not out of revenge, but out of respect for yourself. You're not making a point, you're making progress. And progress speaks louder than words, louder than posts, louder than anything you could say to them directly. Picture it like a bridge they once crossed every day. They assume it's still there. But one day, without announcement, the bridge is gone, replaced by a stronger, more beautiful structure, but with gates that aren't open to just anyone anymore. Now, if they want to cross, it's on your terms, and that's when the balance shifts. And here's what's beautiful about this. When they thought you'd always be there, they weren't seeing your full value. When they realize you've moved beyond that role, they start seeing you differently. Not just as someone they loved before, but as someone they have to earn now. And earning something feels infinitely more satisfying and more worth keeping than being handed something for free. This is the point where curiosity begins to build in them. If they're not waiting for me anymore, what changed? Who are they becoming? What else have I underestimated? That curiosity is the seed. And seeds, when planted in the right soil of mystery and growth, don't just sprout. They pull people back toward the source. So the real question here, my friends, isn't will they come back? The real question is, will you stay in the same spot long enough for them to feel safe leaving again? If the answer is no, if you choose to keep growing, keep moving, keep becoming, their old comfort evaporates. And when comfort evaporates, urgency shows up. And when that urgency meets the memories they can't unfeel, the pull becomes inevitable. That's when they realize the clock is ticking. That's when the belief they could always return dies, and the desire to return is born. So write this in the comments to lock it in. I am not an option. Not for them, not for anyone. Show it in the way you live, in the way you stand, in the way you move forward without glancing back. Because in the next part of this journey, we're going to talk about what happens when your energy becomes truly unreachable, and why that shift is often the exact moment they realize they've lost more than they understood. Stay with me. Number 3, your energy becomes unreachable. They can only feel your absence when they can no longer reach your presence. That's the moment, my friends, when they stop just noticing you're not talking and start feeling that they can't touch the part of you they used to own. And make no mistake, before this point, they could still feel you. Even in silence, they could sense your longing, your hope, your readiness to open the door the second they knocked. Energy is like a signal tower. It transmits whether you want it to or not. You can shut your mouth, delete their number, unfollow them everywhere, and still be sending out a signal that says, "I'm here if you need me." You might not realize it, but your very stillness can be soaked in waiting. And waiting has a frequency. It hums in the background. It's like static in the air, and trust me, they can pick it up. Picture this. You're sitting in a room, doing nothing, but you're staring at your phone, waiting for a message. Outwardly, you're calm. Inwardly, your thoughts are loud, restless, desperate. That energy leaks into your posture, into your conversations with other people, into the way you show up online. You don't have to type a single word to them. Your whole presence is still tethered to them like a cord you haven't cut. And as long as that cord is intact, they still feel connected to you, still feel your pull, still assume they can wander off and wander back without losing anything. But here's the turning point. When you start to change what you're broadcasting, when you stop sending out the signal of, "I'm here if you decide you want me," and start transmitting, "I'm here but not for you anymore," that's when they feel the real absence. That's when your energy becomes unreachable. And it's not unreachable because you're angry. It's not because you've built walls or put on a cold mask. Anger is still connection. So is pretending not to care. Both still orbit around them. No, your energy becomes unreachable when your life stops revolving around their gravity, when you're no longer checking the door, when your silence isn't heavy with hope, but light with freedom. It's like having a radio station they used to tune into every day. Even when they weren't listening closely, it was always playing in the background. But one day, without warning, the signal changes. They turn the dial, and the channel they thought they owned is gone, replaced by something else entirely. And here's the kicker. They can't control it anymore. That's when people start chasing the very thing they once took for granted. But this is the hard part. Getting to that place inside yourself where the cord is truly cut. Where you're not just acting unreachable to get a reaction. If you're doing it as a tactic, they'll feel the performance. They'll smell the hidden motive. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about becoming impossible to hold on to in the way they used to. And that's real work. It's work because fear will whisper, "If I let go, I'll lose them forever." And the truth is, maybe you will. But here's the deeper truth. The person you become in that process is worth more than any version of them who needs you to be small, predictable, and always available. When you do this right, you're not slamming the door in their face. You're quietly building a whole new life in a whole new house, one they don't have the address to anymore. You're not closing off, you're expanding. And that expansion makes you harder to reach, not because you've run away, but because you're no longer standing still. And here's what's fascinating. When your energy becomes unreachable, they start noticing the small things first. They notice your voice sounds different when they do hear it. Calmer, steadier, not leaning in. They notice you're not reacting to things you used to. They notice your attention is elsewhere, genuinely elsewhere, and it's not a game. It's not an act. Your focus has moved, and so has your center of gravity. It's like trying to catch smoke with their hands. They remember how it felt when you were solid, predictable, easy to grip emotionally. But now, every time they reach, you're already somewhere else. That somewhere else is your own life, your own peace, your own growth. And the more unreachable you become, the more valuable you become in their mind. Not because people want what they can't have, but because they remember how it felt to have it, and they don't know how to find it anywhere else. Think of a warm fire on a cold night. If you've always had it, you don't think much of it. But the second you step outside into the freezing air and can't get back in, suddenly that fire becomes everything. They can still remember the heat, but they can't feel it anymore. That absence drives them crazy. But here's the lie you have to break in yourself to make this real. If they feel my distance, they'll think I don't care and move on. That's fear talking. The truth is, when they feel your distance, the real kind, not the fake kind, it forces them to reassess the whole story. And if the connection you had was real, that distance doesn't erase it. It magnifies it. Of course, the first instinct they'll have isn't always to come running back. Sometimes the first instinct is denial. I'm fine without them. Then distraction, dating someone new, throwing themselves into work, filling their life with noise. But that only works for so long, because late at night, when the noise dies down, they'll notice the quiet feels different now. It's not just your voice missing, it's your presence. And presence is harder to replace than people think. And here's where it gets interesting. They'll try to test the waters. Maybe a casual message, maybe a little like on your post, maybe a question through a mutual friend. What they're really asking is, do I still have access to you? And when they sense, even subtly, that the answer has changed, that they can't just stroll back in without effort, it unsettles them. That unsettling is exactly what you want. Not because you're cruel, but because comfort is what made them take you for granted in the first place. So what does unreachable energy look like? It looks like living in such a way that you're no longer emotionally on call. It looks like having so much happening in your own life that their absence isn't a gap you're trying to fill. It's just a space you've already built something else in. It looks like smiling because you're actually okay, not because you're trying to show them you're okay. And here's the paradox. When you stop being reachable in the way they expect, you become unforgettable in a way they can't ignore. So, my friends, write this in the comments and let it sink deep. My energy is mine, not theirs, not anyone's to take for granted. Claim it, protect it, live in it. Because in the next part of this journey, we're going to talk about why the world outside will inevitably compare them to you, and why that comparison over time is the one they can't win. Stay with me. Number 4. Life will eventually compare you to everyone else. Time is the most honest mirror. It shows you who was real and who was just passing through. That's what's coming for them, my friends. Because no matter how sure they are right now, no matter how much they convince themselves they made the right decision, life has a way of putting people side by side, and the world outside is one long, ongoing comparison. They may not realize it yet, but every person they meet, every relationship they try, every connection they test, it will all be measured, consciously or not, against the way it felt when they were with you. See, in the beginning, they might feel free, excited, maybe even convinced they've traded up. They'll tell themselves stories. This new person is better for me, or that chapter is closed. And maybe for a little while they'll even believe it. But feelings are stubborn, and memory, real, lived-in memory, is even more stubborn. It doesn't politely step aside for someone new. It lingers in the corner, quietly watching, waiting for a moment to speak up. And trust me, those moments will come. Imagine this. They're out at dinner with someone new. The conversation is fine, maybe even fun, but then there's a pause. an awkward silence. And out of nowhere, their mind flashes back to how easy it felt talking to you, how you could fill an evening with stories, laughter, or even comfortable quiet that didn't need to be filled. That little flash, that's the start of the comparison. And once it begins, it's hard to stop. Life is full of these moments. They'll hear a song you both loved. They'll see a look in someone's eyes that reminds them of you, but it won't feel the same. They'll watch how other people treat them, the little things, the big things, and somewhere deep down they'll realize it's not you. And it's in that realization that the illusion starts to crack. This is where the world does the work for you. You don't have to send reminders. You don't have to post strategically or try to spark their jealousy. The universe will bring the comparisons without you lifting a finger. And the thing about genuine connection, about the kind that was real, is that it creates a standard. And once someone has experienced that standard, they can't unlearn it. They can pretend, they can settle for less for a while, but sooner or later they'll notice the difference. Now, you might be thinking, what if the next person they meet is better? And I get it. That thought can eat at you. But here's what you need to remember. Better is subjective. What looks better at first often fades over time. A shiny car is impressive until you realize the engine isn't built for long roads. A grand house is beautiful until you find the cracks in the walls. And relationships are no different. What's real, what's lasting, is not how exciting it feels in the first 2 months. It's how safe, respected, and seen you feel after 2 years. And here's the truth. If you were genuine with them, if you gave them a mix of stability, depth, and care that was rooted in who you are, then chances are high that the world outside won't hand them that same blend again. They might find pieces of it. A little chemistry here, some fun there, but rarely the whole picture. And every time they notice what's missing, the comparison tilts in your favor. It's like when you've had a truly great meal. You might try other restaurants, other flavors, other dishes, but once you've tasted something that hits all the right notes, every other bite gets judged against it. They don't even have to want to compare. The mind just does it. And the more it happens, the more they start to understand that what they left behind wasn't ordinary. But here's the key. Your job isn't to sit there hoping they figure it out. Your job is to make sure that while life is out there doing the comparing, you're becoming even harder to match. You keep growing. You keep building a life so full that even the memory of you becomes richer over time. Because when they finally look back, you won't just be as good as they remember. You'll be better. And that's when the comparison stops being close. That's when it becomes obvious. Of course, there's a reason most people never get to see this happen, because they interrupt the process. They get impatient. They try to speed it up by reinserting themselves, by reminding the other person what they're missing. And when you do that, you rob life of the chance to show them the contrast. It's like opening the oven too early. The cake collapses because it never had the time to rise. You have to let the distance do its work. Let them wander. Let them test their theories, because every dead end they hit, every disappointment they face, every surface-level connection that fails to match the depth they had with you, it all pushes them closer to the truth. And the truth is, time and experience will do more for you than any words ever could. Now here's something important. These comparisons don't always make them come running immediately. Sometimes it's a slow burn. They might resist the realization at first. Pride will tell them not to admit it. Ego will try to convince them they're fine. But comparisons are relentless. They creep in through the smallest cracks, and each one chips away at the certainty they had when they walked away. Eventually, they'll see the gap. Not just the gap between you and the people they meet now, but the gap between who they were when they were with you and who they've become since. They'll remember how they felt around you, and notice they haven't felt that way since. And that's when the longing starts. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to chase that moment. It will find them, and when it does, they'll face a choice: reach out or live with the knowledge that they left behind something they can't replace. But by the time this happens, if you've been doing the work, you won't be in the same place they left you. You'll be stronger, clearer, more centered. You won't be waiting at the door. You'll be living in such a way that their return isn't about completing you. It's about meeting you where you are now, and that's a completely different kind of reunion. So, my friends, here's your reminder: life will compare you to everyone else. And if you've been true, if you've been real, if you've been yourself without shrinking, those comparisons will speak for you. All you have to do is give them the space to happen. Write this in the comments to lock it into your mind. I am the standard. Because when you start living like it, the world will treat you like it. And in the next part of our journey, we'll talk about what happens when your growth outpaces their expectations, and why that's the moment they start realizing they might never catch up. Stay with me. Number 5. Your growth outpaces their expectations. Nothing shakes a person more than realizing the version of you in their mind no longer exists. That's the moment, my friends, when they finally turn around, expecting to see the same you they left behind, only to realize you've outgrown the frame they kept you in. It's a jolt, a shock to the system, because in their head you were frozen in time, waiting, orbiting, staying as they remembered you. They never expected you to evolve without them. They assumed the breakup would put your growth on pause, as if your life depended on their presence to move forward. Here's the thing about people's mental images of you. They're built on old data: the way you looked, the way you moved, the way you reacted. And that data doesn't automatically update in their mind unless they see you often. So if you've been silent, if you've kept your distance, if you've been working on yourself in the background, the picture they've been holding on to is outdated, and outdated images create false confidence. They believe they know you. They believe they still understand your rhythm. They believe they could predict exactly what would happen if they reached out again. But growth, real, deep, unshakable growth, is the great disruptor. It's the moment they realize their predictions no longer apply. Picture it like this. They left thinking they knew the layout of the house. They could walk it blindfolded. They could find the kitchen, the bedroom, every corner of your personality. But when they come back, the walls have moved. The colors are different. The furniture is gone. There are whole new rooms they've never seen before. They can't navigate it anymore, and suddenly they're not in control. And that's the thing about control. People don't realize how much they think they have until it's gone. When they believed you were static, they felt safe. Safe to leave, safe to explore, safe to assume you'd be there, ready to pick up where things left off. But now you've rewritten the map. What does growth look like in this context? It's not just about hitting the gym or getting a promotion, though those things can be part of it. It's about the way you carry yourself now, the steadiness in your voice, the way you look people in the eye without hesitation, the way you laugh without needing someone's approval. It's the absence of the little flinches you used to have when you felt insecure. It's the way you've stopped explaining yourself, stopped apologizing for existing, stopped shrinking to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. When your growth outpaces their expectations, they don't just notice the physical changes. They feel the shift in your energy. And here's the beauty. You don't have to tell them you've changed. In fact, you shouldn't. Change announced is rarely as powerful as change discovered. Let them feel it in the contrast between who you were in their memory and who you are now. But let's be real, this part isn't easy for you either, because there's a part of you, especially early on, that wants them to see your progress. That wants them to know you're not the same. That wants the satisfaction of them realizing they underestimated you. And while that's natural, it's also dangerous because it can pull you back into performing for their attention instead of growing for your own life. The power here comes from the fact that you didn't grow for them. You grew because staying the same would have meant betraying yourself. You grew because you refused to let the breakup define you. You grew because you looked at the man or woman in the mirror and decided they deserved more than the scraps of validation someone else was willing to give. And when that growth is authentic, it radiates without you needing to prove anything. Now, here's the part that catches them off guard. Your growth changes the dynamic. In their mind, you used to be in the pursuer position, the one who needed them a little more, who bent just enough to keep the peace, who maybe even doubted their own worth at times. But when they see that version of you is gone, they're forced to reconsider the entire story. And suddenly, they're the ones wondering if they still measure up to you. That's the moment their pride takes a hit. It's also the moment curiosity turns into pursuit, because people are wired to want what feels like it's advancing without them. It's the same psychology that makes someone want to catch the train they see pulling away from the station. When you're moving, truly moving, they feel the distance increasing. And that's when the fear of being left behind kicks in. But this isn't about weaponizing your growth. This is about understanding that the healthiest, most magnetic thing you can do after someone leaves is to keep becoming. Not to win them back, not to make them jealous, but because your life is yours, and pausing it for someone else is the slowest kind of self-destruction. Think of it like a garden. When they were with you, they saw the flowers blooming. After they left, maybe they assumed the garden would go wild with weeds, neglected and fading. But when they return, they find something different, an entire landscape transformed. The flowers are richer, the trees taller, the air sweeter. It's not just that you maintained it, you expanded it, you invested in it, you brought it to life in a way it never was before, and now they're standing there realizing they're not part of it anymore. That realization is a double-edged sword for them. On one hand, it draws them in. They want to step back into that space, to experience what you've become. On the other hand, it makes them nervous because they know the old dynamics won't work here. And that's exactly where you want to be. In a place where their return would have to be on new terms because the old ones are no longer acceptable. But here's where you have to stay strong. Growth changes the power balance, but it also changes you. And sometimes, by the time they're ready to return, you'll see them differently too. You'll realize you don't fit into the old pattern because you've simply outgrown it. And in that moment, you'll understand the deeper truth. This was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself right. Because when you've outpaced their expectations, when you've become someone even you didn't see coming, you stop needing their recognition altogether. And ironically, that's usually the exact point they start chasing it. So remember this, my friends. The most powerful way to make someone rethink leaving is not to hold up a sign saying, "Look at me now." It's to live in such a way that when life finally puts them back in front of you, they're looking at a person they can't believe they once underestimated. Write this in the comments to seal it. I am becoming unstoppable. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it. Because in the next part of our journey, we're going to talk about how your peace disrupts their power and why that shift in control is often the final push that brings them back. Stay with me. Number 6, your peace disrupts their power. Nothing is louder than the silence of someone who no longer reacts to you. That, my friends, is the moment the dynamic flips completely. When they realize the power they thought they had over you, the ability to pull you in with a text, to push you away with a cold tone, to keep you guessing with mixed signals, is gone. Not because you blocked them, not because you screamed, not because you declared war, but because your peace is no longer something they can disturb. See, here's the truth no one likes to admit. When someone knows they can stir you, they hold a certain kind of power. They might not even do it consciously, but they feel it. They know you'll answer the phone if they call late at night. They know your mood will shift depending on their attention. They know you'll replay their words for hours, looking for hidden meaning. And as long as they believe they can create waves inside you, they believe they still have a say in your direction. But peace changes that. Real peace. Not the fake I'm fine kind where you're still boiling underneath, but the deep, unshakable calm that comes from no longer needing them to validate who you are. The kind of peace that says, I can love you from afar, I can wish you well, but you are no longer the center of my emotional weather. That's when the wind dies in their sails. Imagine it like this. For a long time, they were a stone you dropped into your pond. Every time they made a move, ripples spread through your water. Big ones, small ones, but always there. They could watch from the shore and see how far the ripples went, how much they still mattered. But now, the pond is still. They toss a stone, and nothing moves. The surface remains calm, untouched. That's when they start to feel small. Not because you tried to make them feel that way, but because the feedback loop they relied on is gone. This is where most people struggle, because in the early days after a breakup, peace feels impossible. You're tied up in what they did, what they said, what they didn't say. You're braced for the next wave of emotion they'll cause. But if you do the work, the real inner work, something shifts. You stop jumping every time your phone lights up. You stop scanning for signs of them in every song, every crowd, every post. You stop checking their life like it's your job. And the more you choose stillness, the more you realize that you are giving them access to your peace the whole time. And you can choose not to anymore. Here's the lie they lived in. I can come and go as I please, and they'll always feel it. And to be fair, that used to be true. They could withdraw attention and watch you stumble to get it back. They could show up again and watch your face light up. That's how people hold quiet power in relationships, by being the one who sets the emotional thermostat. But when your peace takes root, you become your own thermostat. And that's deeply unsettling for someone who once relied on your reactions to feel important. Now let's get real. This doesn't mean you stop caring. Peace isn't apathy. It's not bitterness either. It's the opposite. It's caring without clinging. It's loving without losing yourself. It's wishing them well without wishing yourself away. And when you hit that place, you become incredibly difficult to manipulate. Why? Because manipulation only works when there's a hook to grab onto. Without the hook of your insecurity, your desperation, your longing, they've got nothing to pull on. And here's where the disruption happens. They send a message expecting the old version of you to light up and reply instantly. But instead, you respond when you want to, if at all, and your tone is steady. They make a subtle jab, expecting to see you flinch. But you don't. They try to dangle attention in front of you like bait, and you're not hungry for it anymore. That's when they realize the game is over and you're not even playing. It's like a cat chasing a toy. If the toy stops running away, the chase stops being fun. If the toy simply sits there, whole and unmoved, the cat loses interest in batting it around and starts wondering what else that toy can do when it's not busy running. Here's the thing. When they can no longer disturb your peace, they're forced to face their own. And a lot of people aren't ready for that. Your stillness becomes a mirror, and it reflects back everything they've been avoiding, their doubts, their choices, their losses. And that reflection can be uncomfortable enough to draw them closer, not because they want to control you again, but because they want to understand how you got there. And that, my friends, is the shift that makes them return differently. They don't just come back to rekindle something familiar. They come back curious, humbled, and a little unsure of how to navigate this new version of you. They remember when they could stir your waters with a glance, Now, they have to earn a place in the calm. But let me give you the hard truth here. Peace isn't just the thing that draws them back. It's also the thing that might make you realize you don't want them back in the same way. Because once you've lived in that steady, self-owned energy, you'll be a lot less willing to trade it for the highs and lows you used to tolerate. And that's the beauty of this whole journey. The more you protect your peace, the more you see who and what is truly worthy of sharing it. So if you take nothing else from this, take this. Peace is power. Not the loud, forceful kind, not the kind that demands attention, the kind that sits quietly in the corner, unshakable, undeniable, and impossible to take away without your permission. Write this in the comments right now and make it your promise to yourself. My peace is mine. Let the world know it. Let yourself know it. And if you felt even a spark of truth in what we've just talked about, press that like button, subscribe to Stoic Station, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the more people learn to protect their peace, the more they realize the ones who left will either respect it or get left behind by it. And either way, you win.